director of DYPALL Network, and I'm here above all representing the steering group of EGL. And within the steering group of EGL, we constantly come up with a question that is how to increase the impact of EGL. Okay? And yesterday, Jonas was presenting the different aims and objectives of EGL, and also presenting some of the impacts. And we could see that the first one was the impact of youth work at local level, at municipality level. We could see the other two in terms of this bridge between the European dimension and the local level, so how people are engaging and how this European dimension is reaching. And we saw already with the results, presenting some statistics today, this morning, that maybe not a lot of younger people, as we could imagine, feel European. When we go to the municipalities, a lot less are having this European dimension within their youth work approach. This is a challenge. And EGL is one of the aims is to bridge this. We are bridging this many different ways. As you know, participating in these international events, not just the conference, the study visits, the trainings, but how many municipalities do we have? I'm thinking the Italian table. How many municipalities do we have in Italy? A lot. Probably in Portugal we have 308. In Italy, I think should be over 10,000 maybe. Small municipalities, big municipalities. So as you were talking, a very big diversity. The ones that are from geographic isolated areas, rural areas that are very difficult to reach. So within what is the capacity, because you could tell us, no, we need more international activities. Somebody here a little bit ago, no, with EGL everything is going fine. Everything is great. I question this. Because what it is EGL is the international activities that we are promoting, these 8, 10 study visits per year, plus the ambassadors, plus the training courses. How are we going to reach these hundreds of thousands of municipalities and engage them in the process, making them aware that of this European dimension? Or that the local dimension is reaching the European level. And Jonas yesterday was highlighting that on this level, EGL is already part of a lot of the process. I would doubt that there is any European policy process now that EGL is not invited. We can still do more. We can still be able to have more the voices of the municipalities there. This is always something that we can go. But I think that we are okay. Where I think we believe that we can do a lot more is in this part of the impact of youth work at municipality level. Within what was the design of EGL since the beginning, there was one very important actor. Okay? You could say, okay, young people, municipalities, NGOs, the national agencies, you could say all about these actors, but there was one body here that from the beginning it was considered essential, fundamental for us to have more impact. The national working groups. And now some of you say, but in my country this works, in my country this doesn't work, in my country this has worked in the past, or we are trying something, okay? We know that, and some colleagues were saying also the capacity in the human resources within the coordination, within national agencies is very different, okay? And we need to acknowledge these differences. But the idea of the national working groups that we have already started to discuss today is ways to increase, yesterday, ways to increase their impact, and today we will continue on this dimension. So basically we will continue. I use both, so I see. Continue exploring how can we make these structures more functional, more useful for what is the aims and the goals of EGL, and it's not easy. It's not easy because we have seen the diversity, the realities. Hopefully, the coming practices will help us to inspire you, not to copy-paste, because again, we know that the realities are different, but maybe to get some elements of how it's things happening in these 4 countries that these practices are going to be shared, and then can be an inspiration to give another dimension to our national working groups. But some tips have already been highlighted. How we are using and adapting the national working groups or EGL, and within the national working groups,
putting them on national processes. This was something I was hearing from yesterday in the working groups, from today in the presentations, how this is not a separate thing, but it's part of some national processes. This was one of the tips, okay? Then there was many things coming out of how the national groups are supporting this peer learning, are supporting this capacity building, and you'll see some of the practices that are supporting these dimensions. But another thing, another dimension that I think is one of the fragilities of the national working groups is their sustainability. And this will be another one of the questions to think and take you further on to this afternoon when we are on your national delegations with elements, and some of the people that are here are part of the national working groups or were part of the national working groups when they were existing, when there was some dynamic. And this can be a real opportunity for you to rethink, to relaunch these kind of processes. But the sustainability has to deal with how we can make these structures more resilient, because we know that things change. Sometimes it's enough that the staff within the NA was responsible to facilitate this process change their job, or now it's with some other commitments. What is the structure that makes sense? Who are the elements that make sense to have this sustainability that according to what changes they keep in time? They are supporting each other. They are connecting EGL with the different national processes. So more than answers, it was to launch here a bit of questions. I hope that the coming 4 presentations will help us to inspire us to see how we can push and we can use the charter to boost the quality of municipality youth work and to continue to get inspired and find strategy and ways to increase our impact. Thank you, and I'll pass to Anina.
So, are you ready to get inspired? Good. So, first, we will start with a good practice from Slovenia. Elizabeta, Lakosil, you're warmly welcome.
Hello, everyone. And this does not work. Can you? The password is needed. I can start this by saying, well, I'm representing Slovenian National Agency. It's called MOVIT, and it needs to be said that Slovenian National Agency. Well, we have 2 national agencies. One is dealing with the youth, for the youth field. That's us, and there's another one called SMEPIUS. And they deal with the education part and other parts of the Erasmus Plus programs. So our work is really directed to youth organizations, youth field, organizations dealing with young people, and we tackle municipal youth workers, not tackle, we communicate with municipal youth workers, like I said before, the ones that are responsible for a youth field in their municipalities. So not the ones in the youth centers for the EGL, but the ones that are in a municipality dealing with the field of youth. Like I said before, they also have some other fields that need to be covered, like culture, sports, older people, schools, which consists the major part of what they do. So they don't always have that much time for the youth part. And in many municipalities, I mean, Slovenia is a really small country. We have many municipalities, very many small municipalities, and sometimes there's just only one person dealing with all of these fields. So that needs to be taken into consideration. But what we do in Slovenia, we've joined the EGL in 2016. However, we've initially had 16 municipalities, now we have over 25. We've had an active national committee until last year, and this committee, so the National Working Group, consisted of representatives from the Office for Youth of the Republic of Slovenia, National Youth Council, Youth Network MAMA, that's a network of youth centers, and the municipalities, the major municipalities of Ljubljana, Novo Mesto and Brežice, and of course representatives from our national agency. We have done some initiatives to support municipalities even before 2016, but increased these efforts after we joined the EGL. The National Working Group met several times per year, and they had meetings to discuss what kind of topics and activities to offer to municipal youth officers in order to support their work and to bring, well, EGL closer to these local realities. Now, with the implementation of the European Youth Work Agenda and the Bonn process, there's another working group that's being that consists in order to implement that part. So we are now not trying to have two different working groups working parallel to each other, but connecting them. And this is now in the process of connecting and working together. The aims on the national level, so what the overall aims of the EGL in Slovenia are, is to form support activities that address different needs of municipalities during developing and strengthening quality youth work. As it was said before, not to force them to do things, but to map the needs and support them in what they need, and offering them different kinds of activities that would help them in their work. And of course, to increase recognition of youth work and its impact on local communities. Then we have some specific goals, which we then tackle and realize in different activities that we do throughout the year. One is strengthening the competences of stakeholders in youth work. Like I said, the municipal youth officers, it explained before, and decision makers. We really try to get some mayors involved. And then exchanging good practices and concept for systemic support of youth work and youth organizations on different levels. Some bigger municipalities have this systemic approach organized in a better way than some small municipalities, or it's easier to organize something in bigger municipalities than in smaller ones. So exchanging good practices helps with getting the knowledge across Slovenia. Then increasing recognition and the awareness of the importance and value of youth work. So what youth work actually is and what it helps to achieve, and what is really the impact there, and why is it worth doing all these activities and supporting youth organizations and everything that they do. Then strengthening European and international dimension of youth work as the core part of youth work on local level. So to bring this international dimension on local level from the NA perspective, of course, to have activities in the programs like Erasmus+, youth initiatives, youth exchanges, mobility of youth workers, small-scale partnerships and so on. So to bring this on the local level. And encouraging collaboration of stakeholders in youth field, of course, with stakeholders from other fields and sectors. So this cross-sectorial approach that I mentioned before. And increasing the development of youth work as an important element of youth policies on local and national level in the field of youth policy in Europe. And now how do we do that? With different activities. We have an annual national conference for those who are responsible for youth work in municipalities. It's exclusively for the ones that are youth officers, and we keep this platform exclusive for them, not to have youth workers, which we have many and very many good ones, but we really want to give opportunity to local youth officers. We'll be having a fourth one this year, and it comes like to 50 or 60 participants that join the conference. Then we have annual training course on the quality youth work and advocacy, which I mentioned before, is why, what, who and how in youth work, to really explain what youth work is, how it's organized, who are the people that are involved, what they do and why do they do it. We've had 3 editions so far, and it's becoming pretty recognized and popular, I can say. Then we have in-country study visits to support peer-to-peer learning among municipalities, with the awareness that there's some municipality may have a certain topic that they are good at, and maybe some other topics that they're not as good at. So to reinforce the representation of that good topic, like for example we had how do they increase participation in their municipality, how is the systemic approach organized, or how do they create participatory budget, and how did they organize the participatory budget for young people, and how do they implement it. So we get people that go to these different municipalities to have a short study visit of a few hours. Then of course we have international study visits, some that happen in Slovenia, and of course we encourage sending participants to activities in other countries, and we promote these activities among municipal youth workers, and we really keep it exclusive, like I said, so not to send youth workers from youth centers, but to send youth officers. And then there are some more activities when we also try to present our programs, Erasmus Plus for youth and European Solidarity Corps to municipalities, and we include good practice presentations, but having in mind that not all activities that we offer or that are possible in what we do are maybe suitable for municipalities. So we encourage mostly youth participation activities, well, at this stage presenting youth participation activities, small-scale partnerships and solidarity projects. We feel that these are the ones that can create the most impact on local communities in terms of being connected to municipal workers and maybe having them either apply or be a partner, or at least write a support letter to know that some youth organization in their municipalities is doing this, and that they are aware of what they are doing and how they are doing it and what the impact will be. Then we have individual supports to municipalities. It was designed last year, and it's a year-long process. So far 6 municipalities have been chosen and they're included in this process. So each municipality is supported by an advisor or mentor whom they can consult on what would benefit their municipality most. And they talk about topics like establishing a youth strategy, or if they have it, how to implement it, how to perform field analysis, how to establish a local body or committee for youth, how to organize financing of youth work in their municipality, how to establish participatory budget, and things like that. We do not cover topics like how to create or how to solve a housing problem and things like that, but really having it connected to the youth field and young people. And what have we achieved with our activities so far? Municipalities have established local committees for youth and or youth centers. They have prepared and accepted youth strategies, of course not all, but many. They have changed relevant documents in favor of youth, received a certificate of a youth-friendly municipality, where they need to take off many elements in order to have this certificate. Then implemented participatory budget and participatory budget for young people. Become active in Erasmus Plus program. We have applicants already, we have partners, the municipalities are applicants or partners, or like I said, wrote at least a support letter and are involved in some way in the projects. And some municipalities have implemented logbook, which is an instrument that helps you measure the impact of the youth work that's happening on local communities, and they use it as a tool for advocacy to their decision makers, or on the local or even on national level. So, recognition of youth work has increased and international youth work is encouraged. As I said, logbook serves as a tool for advocacy in relation to local and national decision makers, and a platform is being built where local municipal workers connect, meet and exchange practices. What are our future plans? The national process for implementation of the bond process is being established as we speak, and it's being developed now. It was just presented what will happen in the next year, till 2027. And we will see what synergies can be created within Europe Goes Local. And of course, we are open for international cooperation, and we feel that together we can create even more wonderful things. And here are some contacts if you ever need to contact us, and we'll be really happy if you do. Thank you.
Impressive. Wow. So, next, we will move on and we will have from Croatia, Mario Žuliček.
Really good.
Perfect. You're welcome.
Just from this side. Thank you. Oh, great. Thank you. Hello. As you have a chance, my name is Mario, and I'm going to present how we do it in Croatia. And here is the title, just to show Marko how titles can be short and concrete. We're going to start with the main stakeholders in our process, just to give you a clear picture of what we do and how we do it. And by number one, we have this national coordination team, of course. And you know the role of it and to coordinate the whole project. But on the second place, we would like to mention mentors that take really important part in our implementation. And mentors are also part of this national coordination team or a national delegation, how we call it. But they have one additional role, and really important role, that they support participants, and by participants we mean municipalities or cities, in the implementation. And they support them in different ways. We're going to speak about that a bit later. Here is important to underline that these mentors are current or former employees of local self-government units, or units association or youth organizations and so on. And this is important because these guys then they have direct experience in working and establishing youth policy, changing youth policy, advocacy and so on. Third main stakeholder are actually local governmental units, and here is important to emphasize that we work directly and only with local governmental units. Their role is then to actually gather local stakeholders and to work with them in broader way, but we want to work directly with decision makers on local level, because our aim is to affect the local youth policy, and they make decisions, so we work directly with them only. To give you even clearer picture of our process, we actually prepared a short hodogram, and everything starts with a public call for the participants and for the municipalities and cities. Actually they can apply, because we work in the cycles. So each cycle, I will say, lasts a year and a half with the preparation period, and then one year period of the implementation. And they can, when they apply to be in the process, they should send us a short analysis of the existing level of the youth policy according to the quality and quantity, but also their ideas for improvement or their future plans, let's say in that way. What they want to do through this process, but in the broader way, in some longer term as well. Once we select them, we organize the training in order to get them familiar with the process, with the project and so on, but also with the youth work. And here is one really important sentence we actually present to them. These are actually representatives of the cities and municipalities, mostly the staff. And here we say that they don't have to be the youth workers. They don't have to do the youth work, but they have to create the environment for the youth work development in their communities. And this is where actually they get afraid that they will have to work directly with young people. They will have to organize the events, conferences and so on. But no, you have youth workers in your community. Just give them an opportunity to develop, to get some new knowledge, to get some new skills and so on. But also with to give the opportunity to youth organizations so they can get some funding from the local municipality and so on. So your job is not to do the youth work, but to create the environment for the youth work development. Second thing is that they have to create during the training, but they have to finish it after the training, their individual plan. And this individual plan is a plan for 12 months of the implementation. And the important thing here is that this plan has to be signed by the mayor after the creation. In this way, we actually ensure that the mayor is familiar with the plans, that she or he agrees with the plans, and they should support the implementation of these ideas. And also we get the political responsibility from that person, because once they promote that they have the individual plan, that they are involved in the project, it's in the media, and that's good for you in that context. After that, with the implementation, they got support from two sides, but I will speak about that in the next slide. Everything finishes with the final conference, where participants can present what they did in the previous period, what they achieved through this period from the day one to this last conference, to brag to each other and so on. Speaking about the support, they get support from the national coordination team or national delegation, already mentioned training course, but also evaluation meetings. Of course, we have evaluation, but here, why we put it here? Because we have both non-formal and formal evaluation. And with these non-formal evaluation meetings, actually we want to get them in a more relaxed way, to speak about possible improvements, about their feelings and so on. Sometimes we call it coffee with mentors, coffee with Marco, coffee with I don't know what, and in order to to take a coffee and to speak about in non-formal environment. The second support is support from the mentors, and mentors of course support participants or cities in the creation of this individual plan. But mentors don't tell them you should do it in that way or that way. They just help them with their ideas and to develop it a bit more. They also, as I said already, they have one general aim in this individual plan, and this aim has to be connected with local youth policy, establishing a new one, changing existing one, or whatever. They also have the possibility, or actually mentors visit them during this implementation period. Why? Because during this visit they meet with the mayor, local youth council, local youth organizations, in order to get a better picture of the local context and to adapt individual plan and to adapt implementation of it and to be more aware what is happening in these cities. And meeting with the mayor, it gives visibility and importance of the whole process in that context. And one really important thing that actually we invented in the last cycle were quarterly reports, where cities should report to the mentors, and then mentors should report to the national coordination team. What was the plan for this 3 months period? What they did in this period, and what's the plan for the next 3 months period? And it's directly connected with the individual plan, because they have one general aim, but they have more activities, and these activities are actually framed in 3 months periods in order to track their improvement and to track their implementation. We don't leave them for 1 year and then to come after 12 months and just ask, what did you do? We push them all the time and to give the importance in that way, so they should always be aware of the improvement and implementation. Some of the results they achieved, until now we had 3 cycles, and approximately 45 municipalities participated in the process. Some of them actually created a local youth strategy. Some of them published a call for the youth organizations for funding, established youth councils, started participatory budgeting for young people. And one thing that actually was quite funny for us in the national coordination team, one city wanted to create a gazebo. And then we were laughing at the beginning, because the aim is to affect the local youth policy, and now you are creating the gazebo. And in the end, we actually realized that they asked young people about their needs. And the answer was, young people want a physical place where actually they can implement summer activities, they can spend some leisure time in the park, in the nice place, and so on. And then city decides, let's build the gazebo, because that will answer the needs of the young people. Of course, that was not the main aim, but it's here on the screen, because it gave us a clear picture about that some ideas that sound funny at the beginning can be totally understandable from the local context, because you don't have to be aware of what is happening in the local context. You should listen to municipalities and the young people, because they know the best what they need. In addition to that, approximately we have 3 approved Erasmus Plus projects from the municipalities on Erasmus Plus call. Because we always support them. You're all aware that they don't get the money from the Europe Goes Local, but in that context, they can use Eurogoes Local to get some fundings for the creation of a local youth strategy, for implementation of some other policies and so on. We also foster them a lot to attend TCAs, and they are really active in this field, and because of that they can improve their knowledge even more to actually meet with their colleagues on the international level, establish new partnerships, and that actually resulted with new projects and new partnerships on international both and national level. Speaking about the outcomes of the whole process, we pointed out two of them. And one is, you are all familiar with the European Youth Charter of the Local Youth Work, and we have 128 cities in Croatia, and already 98 of them signed the charter. And charter was signed by the mayor. Again, that means that mayor will respect the text of the charter, and of course not all of them will implement all the activities, and we will have 98 perfect municipalities and cities in Croatia according to the youth work. But in that way, again, we are getting this political responsibility, and young people can actually ask them what is happening and so on, because they show the will to cooperate in that context. And the second one, I don't know if you had a chance to hear about the Youth City for Youth certificate, or how we call it in Croatia, Grad za mlade. It has the same foundations with European Youth Capital, but our idea is not to award the best city or best municipality in Croatia according to the youth work, but we actually established criteria, and we publish a call for the candidacy. And all of them that meet the criteria, they get this certificate or the award. But our idea was not to give the certificates or to award these cities that are good. Our idea was to create a tool. And this tool can be used by all the cities and all the municipalities, and they don't even have to candidate themselves to get the certificate if they actually realize that they are really bad at the moment. They don't have to be ashamed of that. They can use that tool, and then they can assess their current level of the local youth policy according to quality and quantity. And based on that, they can create a concrete plan for the future period with concrete examples of what criteria they don't have at the moment, but they would like to have it in a specific period. This tool can be also used by the local youth council, youth organizations, young people in general, or anybody, and they can get a clear picture what they want to advocate towards the local decision makers. It's important to mention here that we have a great cross-sectoral cooperation within this process, having state office on youth, academia sector representatives, national agency representatives, national youth council, and so on and so on. And at the moment, we have 81 criteria. I know it sounds too much, but the city doesn't have to meet all the criteria. According to the population, they have to meet 60, 70, or 80%. But I will not speak about the technical information here. If you are interested in this, you can come to anyone from Croatia. They know about the story, but we'll share it a bit more then. Just one more thing is that we actually divided these criteria in 8 thematic fields based on the existing European documents, national documents, and so on, in having these really important thematic fields. Why? Because we are speaking of fields such participation, demography, education, youth work, informing, which was really important for us as well. And the thing is that cities or municipalities have to meet at least 50% of criteria in each of these thematic fields. And in this way, we are actually fostering them to develop all the thematic fields at the same time, not to be great in one or two and then to ignore the others completely. Speaking of this certificate, we already got the support from the National Commission and from the European Commission and from the European Parliament. And at the moment we are waiting for a date to present it in the Council of Europe. So it's getting on the European level, and we are really ready to offer our knowledge and experience in this implementation if you are willing to have this in your countries as well. That's it from my side.
Wow.
We have questions at the end, please.
Yeah, I think the questions can be addressed in the end of the session in your tables, and you can always find Mario and grab a hand and ask more. Next, we will have a local one, right?
Yes.
Andreas Björk from Sweden. Welcome. Come here, the middle of the microphone.
So, how do we create change? Exactly. My name is Andreas Björk and I work for the Swedish Agency of Youth and Civil Society. And during the last year I had the pleasure of representing this agency within the working group of EGL Sweden. In this presentation I'd like to talk about this working group and our work structures, but I would also like to say something about how this group has made me rethink this question. One of my first introductions to EGL were via a video that ended with the words, "Go for change." But looking back, I knew that it's sometimes hard, even in groups where they share a common direction. I have talked to young people explaining the lack of weekend activities, heard politicians and municipal councils talk about how do we prioritize fundings for youth work. And I've seen social coordinators try to plan how to work around problems of informal youth parties all at the same time. And in this case, I would say the answer was staring us in the face. Why not let young people arrange this, some youth or weekend activities for the municipal youth funds? But still, it was hard to go for change. And I wondered, how could we in the national working group work around this problem and actually start to create something? And then I remembered a conversation I had with one of the members of the steering group of EGL, Jonas Agder, and he told me and cited Steve Jobs. Organizations should be run by ideas. And I have realized that in Sweden this idea is the Charter on Local Youth Work. So from this we have created a work structure and a mission statement of what we are trying to achieve. So first of all, this mission statement. We work for implementation of the Charter in all local youth centers in Sweden. This we could unite around. It's a quite big task. Under this we then created 4 strategic areas in which we would focus our different activities. And the first one is raise awareness. And here we have done activities such as podcasts for youth organizations. We have presentations and workshops for municipals and youth organizations. We have done presentations for youth worker students, and we have digital workshops and introductions through the Charter. Our next strategic area is increase capacity. And here we have some interesting activities planned. First of all, we are educating national charter ambassadors, which will work in their municipality and close by municipalities to spread information about the charter. And we also educate youth ambassadors, which will have a special focus on spreading the charter within youth organizations. Our third strategic area, maintenance. We also have municipals and youth organizations which has implemented the charter or use it as a checklist in a way. And we want to support them to continue this work and develop this work. And the last one, development of support material. We have translated charter to Swedish. We have created discussion questions around each bullet point in the charter, so you can pick up these questions and work with them in your working group at the local level. We also have a homepage where everything is accessible. So these activities is compiled into a national action plan, which we both have created together in the working group, but also the activities we try to implement together. So it's a collaboration from start to finish. And now I would like to present this working group. And we have some of them here today, and I would really encourage you to take contact with them in coffee breaks and in work sessions later. I'm going to start with the organization LSU, which is the National Council of Swedish Children and Youth Organizations. We have KEX, and here we have Jenny, right? Please wave so everyone can see you. We also have KC, which is Center of Youth Competence. And here we have Peppe and Thomas, right? Back there. We have SKF, Swedish Association of Leisure and Culture Managers. Please wave. Here we have, great. And then we have Nacka-nätverket, the network of Nacka. Anders back there. Fritidsforum, National Association of Swedish Leisure and Youth Centers. Maud. Great to have you. Then we have Umeå University also in our working group. And we have the Association of Youth Work Education. Umeå University, the agency which I am from, and we also have our charter ambassadors, Marie. Oh, the charter ambassadors should always get a clap. That's important, yeah. And we also are part of the NA is represented in this working group. So now I will end with a little reflection. Although the charter has provided this idea which has united us within these different organizations and make us focus on creating change, I would say that it's done something even more remarkable. It has made us come together and work in a common direction, on a joint direction. And this makes me wonder then maybe the initial question of how do we create change really should be a question of how do we create a we. Thank you.
Yes. So, last but not least, but doubled. We will have from Finland, Lehto and MUCF. Warmly welcome.
He's talking more than me. Both have a microphone. Okay. Okay. So I have to be close.
Okay. Okay, can you hear me? No?
Try this microphone.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Now you can hear me. I'm Lehto, and I come from the Finnish National Agency. And I have here with me lovely MUCF from our Finnish National Working Group. I'm going to share you a bit on how EGL is organized in Finland. My focus is on the National Working Group, and I'm going to open its value from the national agency point of view. As a background, I want to mention that in Finland we have quite good structures and frameworks for youth work, as it has come up also today in some other presentations. And as a member of EGL, the Finnish National Agency is not aiming for changes on the national structures, but wants to bring European cooperation closer to our local youth work. And I want to start by telling that in Finnish we actually call the group the expert group.
Yes.
I want to bring this up because in my opinion it describes better the consultative nature of our group. Our group has had 3 or 4 year terms, and the reason one started last year and is going to work until the end of year 24. Our group has 8 members, and besides that we have NA representation in the meetings. Invitations to take part in the group are sent to organizations that decide the actual representatives. The group is officially nominated with a nomination letter that has been signed by the head of our agency or the head of the unit. Then, who are our representatives? The group consists of representatives from different sized municipalities from different areas of the country. Also, bilingual municipalities are represented. Besides the members from the municipalities, we also have representatives from regional authorities, youth work education and youth research network. The National Working Group has 2 two-day meetings a year. One of the meetings per year is held online and one in person. Our group has also shorter meetings when needed. Travel costs and costs related to the meetings are covered, but the members don't receive a fee for their participation. From the point of the national agency, we have found the working group very beneficial. Our group members have a lot of experience and knowledge that we have found really supportive to the work we do in the NA. The group has given ideas, consultants and support for the EGL implementation in Finland. It has also created an important bridge to the youth field and strengthened our networks. Then some things about the history of the group. The National Working Group was gathered for the first time on 2017. The frames and the practices were created on that period of time and have remained quite same since that. During the first years of EGL, the National Working Group was focusing on mapping youth work at municipal level in Finland, creating materials for introducing European youth strategy and youth goals to local youth work actors, commenting on European Charter and finding and contacting practices for the Changemakers kit. The group also worked on a training of municipalities' youth work auditative model in Finland. This term, the National Working Group has decided to especially look into obstacles the local youth work in Finland has for internationalization. The group has, for example, been getting to know and commented a study commissioned by our NA on this topic. One of our working group members came up with this slogan, "Local goes Europe," which I wanted to add here. It actually describes quite well our group's focus at the moment. Then a few words about the Charter ambassadors. We have 2 Charter ambassadors in Finland, and our National Working Group has been doing some cooperation with them. On our last live meeting, the ambassadors told about their experiences from the training, and they also shared their thoughts on the usage of the Charter and the Changemakers kit at the local level in Finland. After these discussions, this spring, our Charter Ambassador Sami and National Working Group member Heidi held a workshop at Finland's biggest youth work event. The topic was introducing the audience to the Charter and the Changemakers kit as tools for youth work. Okay, and this short presentation was from the NA point of view, but to get you a wider view, I asked Meiju, who has been a long-time member of the National Working Group, to also share some thoughts. So, Meiju, could you please briefly describe your experiences as a group member?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Lara. Dear colleagues of Europe Goes Local community, I think this is something that we have in common, kind of family, I hope. So I've been involved in very good way in Europe Goes Local, mostly from the beginning, not maybe in the beginning of the Europe Goes Local, but when it started in Finland. I just checked from my laptop that the first folder was from April 2017. And I promised to tell you something about what does it mean to a member of an expert group to be part of this community and Europe Goes Local. So I decided to point out or take 3 different perspectives. First, the dimensions that Europe Goes Local is European and in that way international community and network. But there's an important dimension for me also as the member of the group, which is national. We have a very nice group. We talk a lot about youth work. We share ideas, and of course it's so that I don't know all the colleagues from Finland. So they are new colleagues from me also that I can share and talk about youth work. And the group has been, I think, very active in the way that if I think these events we have every year, Europe Goes Local events, I think in every event our national group has provided something to these events. So this is something we work a lot together. And then of course this international dimension, the European dimension. Even though I've been working in youth work field quite a long time, you always can learn new, and like we have heard today in the panel in the morning, that youth work is done in very many different kind of contexts, and it varies a lot, and you can always learn from that a lot when you are when you can be part in this kind of events. And then maybe a very little thing, but in a way I think very important. Laura told that we have a kind of official nomination to this group. It sounds maybe a bit bureaucratic, but in a way I think it's very good. Our group is very informal, we have fun, but it's also a formal part of my work. So there's nobody who can come to me and say, well, we are going to Stockholm this time. It's really part of my work, so it makes it very professional also that I'm part of the group. I'm representative of Helsinki Youth Services in this national group. So for me, as a representative of this group, I think it's a kind of, how to say it, it helps you to motivate yourself also, but to explain what the group is and why I'm a part of it. And then, as I also mentioned, it's about the personal learning, which is always involved when you're talking about youth work. The different realities that we have, and we've been talking today a lot about it. But as the last words, I would like to say that even though the realities are quite different, the context, the structures, whatever, but still, in youth work, there's a lot of common. If we go to the essence of youth work, so it's about relationship, it's about interaction, it's about engaging young people. And I think that is something we can share in the Europe Goes Local community. Thank you, friends.
Thank you.
So, we got 4 excellent examples with different concrete ideas. There was trainings, there was some local conference, different kind of support models. We saw some examples who's involved in the network.